Now, of course, the other thing is there's a certain army private of about 2 weeks now called Ari Vatanen, who's been learning to drive a tank now that he's in the Finnish army. Your thoughts on that little move for a start?
Yes, if he has got one of these tanks in his hand, I don't know how many he has been turning over already before RAC, but I'm sure that Ari will be the one really to try to beat. He's in very good mood now to drive.
Excerpts from a radio interview with Finland's Hannu Mikkola, the winner of the Lombard RAC Rally of Great Britain in 1978 and 79. In fact, the man tipped by most fellow drivers to make it 3 wins in a row. Mikkola, as you heard, tipped Ari Vatanen, the 1980 British Open Rally champion, to prevent the hat-trick. The 1980 RAC returned to the city of Bath amid much speculation as to who would win the famous World Championship event. Most of the top drivers were entered, and for Ari Vatanen, victory on this rally would certainly prove the ideal way to end the most eventful year of his life. Driving a Ford Escort along with past winners Mikkola and Timo Mäkinen, the event was to provide numerous thrills for the estimated 2 million spectators who watched the action on the special stages in England, Scotland and Wales. For Army recruit Vatanen, the days prior to the rally were, to put it mildly, different.
Are you confident you'll get permission from the General to do the rally, Ari?
Well, I'm going to see him now, and obviously I hope to get it. And because the RAC is such an important rally, and it's important even for Finnish army that their soldier does well, I'm quite sure that I will get it.
International Motor Rally's broadcaster Alan Phillips accompanied him when he went to seek permission to compete on the event. The place? General Headquarters of the Finnish Defense Force in Helsinki.
Taitojoukkojen sotilasta koulutusta palveletta on hyvä vasta. Asia on minun puolestani selvä. Hyvää matkaa. Yeah. The regiment is very happy to have him there.
Now you have a lot of other athletes and sportsmen
Yes.
in the regiment.
This is the Hammer Cavalry Regiment, which has a sports school included in the regiment.
When you considered allowing him to go back to England to do the RAC Rally, was it a decision you came to easily, or was it a hard one, or what?
I think it was very easy to make that decision, because it's a very famous rally, and I think we are happy to have a representative of the Finnish Defense Forces or the Finnish Army there, and in fact he is serving in my old regiment. He will at least do his best, and of course that's the most one can ask a man to do.
A smiling and enthusiastic general, permission granted.
Well, Ari, what's your reaction after having met you, General?
Well, I was quite nervous to see him, first of all, and now I'm quite relaxed, and it was nice to see the positive attitude he had towards rally.
Vatanen's base for part of his army life is the garrison town of Lahti, and whilst fellow recruits went about their instruction in the art of being a soldier, Vatanen was undergoing some arduous, if not enjoyable, work in the gymnasium.
What is his pulse rate?
$140.
And that is good or bad or what?
Oh, this is good.
It's good.
Yes.
So he's fit, is he?
Yes.
Have you found it harder than you thought it would be, Ari?
Well, I thought that it will be very hard, because most of these guys, they participate in normal athletics, which means that they have got to be very fit indeed.
Some of them have been to the Moscow Olympics, I understand.
That's right, and there's even one gold medalist among them. But my sport doesn't require that sort of physical fitness. So I have found it hard, but luckily I haven't found it too hard.
Which has been the hardest part for you?
Well, let's say generally all this sort of gymnasium as we are doing now, where the pulse rate comes up to 180. It's very hard indeed, but there are guys like shooters, and I must say that they are not any fitter than I am, so I'm all right.
So you're quite pleased with your performance so far?
Well, I must say I'm satisfied, and all this, justifies.
Looking ahead to Sunday back in England for the Lombard RAC Rally, you in the Rothmans Ford Escort. You're tipped to win this year's event. How do you rate your chances?
Well, I know those other fellows who are there, and I think my country fellow Hannu Mikkola again is going to be the worst rival. And if he puts up some sort of performance as he has done on a couple of previous years, unfortunately, to be honest about it, I don't think I can beat him.
You think that you can't beat him, and yet Hannu thinks that you are the man that can beat him and stop him getting the hat-trick?
Well, let's put it this way, he has been in such a brilliant form on 2 previous years. But maybe this year things are a bit different, and maybe I stand some kind of chance.
It's been quite a year for you, really, hasn't it? Your daughter was born in the early summer. You won your first World Championship event, and then you won the British Championship. The RAC could cope off quite a good year for you.
Yes, and of course on top of that I'm in army now.
Katsot sä minun kun komennan. Huomio katso oikeaan. Ei! Iltapäivää joukkue.
Finland operates a military conscription policy. Indeed, every Finnish male is liable for military service and is expected to serve from the age of 17 until he attains the age of 60. During this lengthy period, these recruits, along with Vatanen, belong to the auxiliary reserve, the regular force, or its main reserve. This northern European country annually trains some 40,000 recruits, approximately 30,000 reservists, as well as another 1,000 regular personnel at specialized courses. Strategists estimate that Finland's defense force has almost 1 million trained combatants. The recruits are expected to serve for 11 months, including the basic training.
Ars! Liikettä! Ensimmäinen ryhmä käsi ylös, joo.
Well, one thing's for certain, that drill commander would do justice to any regimental sergeant major at Aldershot or Catterick. The young men here will go through their 11 months training. They'll go to various parts of the Finnish army. They'll learn the trade under stiff conditions, such as we've got here today. 5 degrees below freezing, it's getting colder.
Vatanen's commanding officer is Lieutenant Colonel Antero Persinen. What had he to say about the world-class sportsman under his command?
As you know that Vatanen is doing here his military service, he will be here at least 11 months. Anyway, he will be trained to NCO of our reserve, but it depends only on him if he will be trained to officer of reserve.
Do you think he has that quality?
I guess so. My opinion is that he's a very clever, nice guy.
Mares, täällä oli luumotti kyllä. Antakaa ase jollekin toista. Menkää sinä ase mukana. Singo! Ase toinen.
On joining the force, a civilian is, where possible, given a job similar to his normal occupation. Not quite a rally car in this case, but a nationally built Isuzu support vehicle. In fact, Vatanen was experiencing more in one day than many recruits get through in a month. What had the man himself got to say?
Well, I've only been here now for 10 days, and I find it quite interesting because it's another world, from a civil life, and bearing in mind the fact that I'm only 28 years old, it's entering another world altogether, and but my stay in the army, it's part of my responsibility towards my country.
During which time, in his elite squad, he could spend the whole time doing fitness training, cross-country running and so on, or train for a career such as a clerk, driving an ambulance, or even driving something like one of these.
Tällä kertaa, kun on kyse pelkästään harjoituksesta, niin me emme jatka tuota tienristeystä pisemmälle, vaan pysähdymme heti sen jälkeen, kun kärkikone on jatkanut 15 metriä tuohon suuntaan ja muut ovat tuohon. Stop!
Yes, you're the hero.
For security reasons, or was it safety reasons, filming of rally champion Ari driving a battle tank was not allowed. It was, however, another battle looming up, the one in the forests of Britain, that allowed him leave from military service. And where better to begin that leave than at home in Helsinki with his wife and family.
You look forward to feeding time with Ria, do you, Ari?
Yeah, I must enjoy this part of family life indeed. It's good to be so helpful to somebody. And
She made much of a difference to your life?
oh, very much indeed. I mean, without a child, you know, life would be, you know, far less colorful, and you know, it's you know, this is the way how it should be.
You don't see much of him, do you, Rita?
No, that's true. Only his, how do you say, heels. That's all what I see.
Looks good anyway.
Tuu ottaa. Ottaa, joo. Saisi tuon tää siellä samassa.
Looking ahead to the RAC Rally, Ari, now you're tipped to be the possible winner of this year's event. It must mean a lot to you to win an event such as the RAC.
Yes, I hate to list the events, you know, into any kind of order, but I still think that the RAC, if there is a rally I would like to win, it is the RAC, just because it is such a respected event, and it's held in England, the country I like very much, where I have spent a lot of time, and all other top fellows are usually there, and it's a fair, long event, and you know, the best driver usually wins it.
Do you tend to relax before a rally?
I should say that I'm, you know, beginning to relax now. There are now 2-3 days nothing to do. I'm not in a, you know, I'm already on leave from army, and I'm not in England yet, so I can spend some time with my family, and you know, my thoughts are away from rallying at the moment, and then, you know, a couple of days before the event, then I'm trying to get excited about it.
Which British driver do you think is going to pose most problems for you?
Well, Tony Bond has been putting up a very good performance this year. His machinery is getting more competitive. I think he is number one out of British drivers. Behind him is your young hope, Malcolm Wilson. I guess he, you know, is recovered from his accident. And of course Russell Brooks is there as usual.
Now your teammate is Timo Mäkinen. Timo has made a hat-trick of wins before. How do you see Timo's chances this year?
He hasn't been in English Forest for many years, for 3-4 years, and you know, he could well finish in top 5, which is you know, not a bad result for grand old man.
What does it mean to you to be the British Open champion for 1980?
Well, it means having done well in a country where I have, you know, spent a lot of time, and the country I like very much. It's much nicer to be, you know, British Open champion and French Open champion, for example.
A blunt question now, are you going to win the rally next Wednesday?
Well, I will try my best, but you know, I've always been realistic, so I have no illusions about it. So the opposition is going to be, you know, as hard as ever.
And as Vatanen was to find out along with many other drivers, so too were the conditions on the rally. The early pace setters, Britain's Tim Bryce and Malcolm Wilson, retired, and the lead was inherited by another underrated driver, Sweden's Anders Kulang, in a Works Opel Ascona 400. It was whilst Vatanen and co-driver David Richards were chasing Kulang that they crashed their Ford Escort in the Hampsterley Forest. And at dawn on the second day of the rally, they too retired, failing to reach even the halfway point at Windermere. The situation at this point was Anders Kulang, the overall leader, with a slender 13-second advantage in the Opel over the Toyota Celica of fellow Swede Bjorn Voldergaard. Finnish hopes now lay with 24-year-old Henry Toivonen, who'd driven superbly throughout to hold third place at the rally's restart. Hannu Mikkola, who'd been off the pace after a number of mishaps, was beginning to get it together, whilst the legendary Timo Mäkinen was still battling away with his Escort. But the RAC Rally was far from over. Within minutes of the Windermere restart, second place Bjorn Voldegaard retired his Toyota with engine problems, and rally leader Kulang lost out when his car punctured 3 tyres and dropped him down the field. Henry Toivonen suddenly found he was the new leader with his Talbot. Could he hold off the challenge from Hannu Mikkola, apparently poised to drive his Escort to the front and make it a hat-trick of wins? The rally progressed through the Welsh forests, and still Toivonen kept in front for what was to be a superb victory for him. He became the youngest ever driver to win this prestigious rally. So, Mikkola failed to get his hat-trick. The sweetness of victory went to Henry Toivonen and Talbot. It had been the toughest RAC for many years, and the venerable Ford Escorts failed to make it 9 wins in a row.
How does it feel to win the Lombard RAC Rally in 1980?
Fantastic. I surely can't believe it yet.
You're still so surprised yourself?
Yes.
When you heard Ari Vatanen went out of the rally, what were your thoughts then?
Disgusting sort of.
Well, I saw Ari when Ari went off, and I think that was a very dangerous place.
For Hannu Mikkola, no hat-trick, just second place.
Why not, you know?
Yeah.
Second,
I mean,
it's not bad place.
You must be very pleased for Henry, though.
Oh, yes, you know, it's the time that these youngsters are taking over.
Are you feeling old?
Not really.
But of course, you're going to have a youngster of your own very shortly, aren't you?
Yes, I think in January. Yes.
In January.
Yes.
Do you mind on that? Or, I mean, it wasn't really your rally. It appeared not to be.
No, you know, if you look at the results, second is not bad place, but we were not on the pace, not at all. You know, and but it's not any point to start to think of why, you know, it was something wrong and we have to find out.
You accept the result?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it tougher than any other RAC that you've done?
The last one is always the toughest.
For Ari Vatanen, life goes on back on the parade ground in Finland. He looked destined to finish runner-up in the 1980 World Rally Drivers' Championship. And with the blessing of the Finnish Defense Force, 1981 will see Vatanen make a concentrated bid to win the World Championship outright. Along with co-driver David Richards, he'll drive for the world's 2 biggest rally teams. Often the butt of much humour, Ari Vatanen has the ability and the skill to win. A true ambassador for the sport of motor rallying.
Seem to be feeding you and your colleagues quite well on the camp.
Yes, the food is very good and there's enough of it. And on Monday particularly, that's my favorite day because the bean soup and pancake day.